everybody. I tried to press a button and it went to my starting Zoom image, so sorry about that. Um, today I thought I would show you something that's kind of interesting. I was actually on my Medium stats page and I wanted to open up all of these, like a whole bunch of these stories, because they have a link to my old button down subscription thing. And I want to update those to link to my new ConvertKit subscription thing. And it looks like the button down one's broken anyway. And so I was like, well, I don't want to have to click on view story every single time. So I did something like this. Well, at least I got it all set up. And then I realized I'm in the process of rewriting or like creating my own blog platform. So why would I take the time to update all of these? I'll just update it later. So I decided not to do that, but it gave me an idea to for something else that I do on a pretty regular basis. That's pretty arduous. And so on this stats page, when I click on, or like if I wanted to click on every single one of these view stories, like clicking on it would be kind of annoying. And so I could use the browser console to find all those elements and fire a click event, or actually get the URL and then do a window.open on that URL. So I can inspect this. I can look at this class, and then maybe I could say, a sortable table link. That's probably the most unique of these things. Document, query selector, all. Okay, cool. So I've got my sortable table link. That was actually pretty easy. Often it's a lot more difficult. Here's another example where, like, typically I don't like to accept a invitation to connect on LinkedIn unless I know the person personally. Nothing personal. I just don't really like to connect with everybody. So occasionally, like every couple weeks, I'll come in here and I'll accept a couple people who I do know, and then I'll just ignore everybody else. And it takes a while to go through and click ignore. So I can do the same thing where I'll say, okay, let's find invitation card action button, and then document query selector all, and whoa. And then I can get all those, and then I can for each these and button and b.click. But I'm going to do things a little bit differently because when I was doing this, I didn't want to have to bother looking up what's the class name, whatever. I know what it says on the page, so I can like search through that and use DOM testing library to get what I want. So here, I'll show it here first. What I did was I wrote this little snippet in Chrome DevTools called load.js. It'll load script. Here's my file path. I have a cache buster, so I can rerun this a couple times if I need to. I don't know. This is something I found on the internet somewhere. And so yeah, then we're going to create a script tag on load. We'll just say, hey, it loaded. And then we'll set the type to JavaScript. Source is that file path in the cache buster. And then we'll append that to the head, and that will load the script. So I can say this, load script, script. You can see I've already done this. Load script. Oh, I got to run this first. Ta-da. And then I run it. Sweet, now it's loaded. And what that means is because this is a UMD, this wouldn't work if we didn't have a UMD. If we tried to load like the ES modules thing or something, then we would be in a bad place. So yeah. Sorry, I just got distracted by something. So this will only really work if something like this can run in the browser. And here what we're doing is we set a global variable called DOM testing library. And so now once we've loaded it, we can say DOM testing library, DOM testing library, and we'll get all of the methods from DOM testing library, which is pretty cool. So now I can say DOM testing library, and I could actually say within document.body, and that's going to get me a whole bunch of queries that I can use on the document body. So I could say, actually maybe an easier way is just to use the query directly. So we'll say get all by text, and yeah, I've done this. So we get all by text. Oh, here, let me bump that up a little bit. It just occurred to me that's probably kind of small. So document.body, view story, and that gets me all of those same things without having to look up in the source. And sometimes the class names are not correct, or it's kind of hard, or there's something weird about them. So this is a pretty good and easy way to find all those things. And then I can say for each, and then that's a link, or actually we'll map these, map the anchor tag to a.getAttribute href. And now I've got all those hrefs, and then I can say for each window.open, we'll say link, window.open link. And then we'll open all those things. That's 35. I'm not going to open it. One thing that we could do also is I'll say slice from 0 to 10, or I'm just going to say 0 to 2. Then I open just 2 of them. Sweet, right? And then I can change that to 0 to 12 or 0 to whatever. So anyway, that was the original impetus for me creating this load scripting. That's what started that off. And I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool, being able to use DOM testing library to query around the page without having to do some weird figure out what class names they're using and stuff. So I decided not to do this though, because I'm rewriting my blog anyway. But in preparing this video, I thought, okay, what's another thing that I like to automate? And this is definitely something I'd like to automate. Somebody mentioned I should refresh, because I'll have another request. And as I said at the very beginning of the video, oh yeah, there you are. Oh, sure, I'll accept you. I typically do not accept LinkedIn requests from people that I don't know personally, and like lots of the times it's going to be a recruiter, and I don't really care to connect with recruiters on LinkedIn. And so like I literally just cleared this out yesterday. So I get a lot of LinkedIn requests from random people. Surprisingly, since I've started getting into the testing community like pretty heavily recently, it turns out that automation, like QA automation, they are way into LinkedIn, because I've been getting a crazy amount of LinkedIn requests from those people. Yeah, so I pretty much just come in here every now and then, and I'll ignore everybody. And that takes a long time to click on all these. So what we can do is we go in here, we run this, and we're like, okay, then we'll load the script. Load script, and then oh no, that's kind of a bummer. So LinkedIn actually has good security practices, and they have a content security policy, which basically says that you can only load certain scripts from trusted sources, which is great. PayPal does the same thing. So to get around this, what I can do is I'll just copy all this. Then I'll add a new snippet, DOM testing library.js. We'll paste it in there, save it, and then I run it. Ta-da! DOM testing library. And then I can say the same thing. So dot query by, or let's see, we want get all by text. And I already did this just to test things out. Dot map. Okay, well, let's see what we've got first. So we have 7 spans. So the text is actually inside of a span, and then that span has the button. So I think actually we should be able to fire a click event on the span with DOM testing library. So let's try that. So say for each, we get that span, and then DOM testing library fire event, a click on that span, and that should work just fine. You ready? Beep. There we go. I didn't get any of those little notifications that I normally do, so let's see what happens when I refresh the page. What? Are you people watching this right now? I feel bad ignoring you when you're watching me live, but I feel like I've seen this avatar around, so I'll accept this one, but I'll ignore that one. I don't know that person. Anyway, so that's the basic idea. You load in DOM testing library. You can make it a snippet, and then you don't even have to do this load.js thing, which I think is still kind of interesting, but you don't have to do that. You just make a snippet of the UMD. You can actually do this with React. Anything that has a UMD, you could do this. Here, let me fix this source map URL too, by the way. We'll just go copy this, because the source map lives relative to that where that file was. So now when we run this, we can get a legit source map more. But then when we go testing library, interesting. Well, that's fun. So yeah, that's this works out pretty well. I kind of like this a lot. I'll probably use it to automate a lot more things, because then you can just down testing library and you do all kinds of things, querying around, you can fire events, all that stuff. So all right, I think that's about it for me today. If you want to, you can go subscribe to my newsletter since that's up, kcd.im/news. I wrote a really cool one. People really have, it's resonated with people a lot, about personal branding and intentionally building your career. So you can check that out. But yeah, other than that, I think we're done here. So I hope you have a nice day, and we will see you all later. Peace.